Hello, everybody, and we're your hosts, Shivali Patel and Carrie Miller, and this is the show that is our Helium 10 listing teardown episode, where we take our bat math and we tear it to shreds. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AMPM podcast. My name is Shivali Patel.
My name is Carrie Miller, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon, TikTok Shop, and Walmart private label,
and how to generate reoccurring revenue streams 24 hours a day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show.
Get it? AM, PM podcast.
And as a matter of fact, last week I was attending Inspire by Million Dollar Seller and Prosper in Las Vegas with hundreds of other Amazon sellers, networking and catching up with old friends. And while I was doing all of that, I was still making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think.
Did you know that in seconds you can find all the keywords any product on Amazon was ranking for in the last couple of years? Or find out where any product got sales from brand analytics data from the last 5 years? Or get exclusive private trainings that used to cost $400 a month. All of these plus more is available now on the Helium 10 Diamond Plan. Upgrade with this special 20% off coupon code SSP20. No contract, you can cancel at any time. Once again, use code SSP20 to get the Helium 10 Diamond Plan that helps brands so much, it practically pays for itself.
No matter where you're selling, on Amazon, on TikTok Shop, or anywhere else for that matter, in the e-commerce world, we hope that you can see the mindset that we're using to approach this listing to hopefully use it for any of the SKUs that you've got to double, triple, or even quadruple your conversion.
Alrighty, so with that, let's just go ahead and get started. And we're just gonna show the actual listing itself that we're going to be looking at, and we're going to tear it down. So we're just going to give all of our thoughts, our initial impressions. Now, we didn't write this. We didn't have anything to do with the creation of this particular listing. So what we're going to do is just give our initial thoughts and reactions on what we like and what we don't like. So, all right, so let's go ahead and let's do the images first. This is the main image right here, and it's literally a bat bath mat with someone kind of stepping onto the mat with their bare feet. What do you think about this image?
Well, I can definitely tell that it's selling a bat math, but I can't actually tell that it's bat shaped. It just looks kind of like a blob. I'm not entirely able to see what the structure of it looks like. As well as I know Amazon's terms of service, there's certain stipulations of what you can and can't do. There was for a long time this regulation that it just has to be the product. Now, what we're looking at here is somebody's foot in the product. And just to touch on that, I think it is good to give it your best shot. Do things that really help draw attention to your image, because that image is what helps people click into your listing in the first place. When you are on a search results page, you've got tons and tons of images right next to each other. And so anything, even the smallest of details like a foot or a leg, can help somebody have their eyes drawn to that listing.
Yeah, I do agree with that because of the way it's positioned, I think you could position it a different way and somebody could be stepping on it and you could still see the bat, but it's kind of at an angle, so it looks kind of wonky. But I do think it is important for just standing out because the other bath mats don't. I do also like that it shows how fluffy it is, because the other ones look really flat and you can't really tell if they're actually absorbent, or they kind of look like the other bath mats that are on here. They look like rubber. So if you see like this one's like rubber looking, and this one as well, what do you think? This one's a totally different one. It's a coffin, and that you can still see that this one's coffin shaped actually, and there's a foot on it. So that's actually what I mean is like we can actually probably reposition this particular bath mat, and so that we could still see the actual shape.
Yeah, so those of you that are listening in, just what Carrie talked through. The first one is the one that we are currently looking at, which is the Manny's Mysterious Oddities Bat Math. It's angled away from the user, and that's why you can't really tell what the shape of it is. However, there is a leg stepping onto it that shows the fluffiness of the actual product. Products 2 and 3, you can tell it's bat shaped. However, you can't tell that it's fluffy. There's no leg associated to it. The third one actually has a completely different backdrop. It's not even on a white background. And I will say, sizing wise, the actual sizing of the bat math is smaller than what I would assume you would actually be able to capitalize on just from the space of that square usually. The fourth one is the coffin shaped one that we sell. And again, completely different product. Somebody who's looking for a coffin shaped thing might not be looking for somebody who's is not the same audience as somebody who's looking for a bat shaped one. So some things to keep in mind. What are some ideas? Maybe I don't know if you want to get into ideas here, but just looking at the search results page, can you think of different ways that somebody might be able to draw attention?
Well, I think that we actually do draw a lot of attention. I just think we need to re-angle it. Our listing is the overall pick, so that is something to think about. It's people are clearly clicking on ours more often, and it's the overall pick for this particular product. I just think a little bit of repositioning and I would suggest that we do an audiences test, because we have audiences on Helium 10, and you can basically ask your, perfect audience which one they would choose. So you could angle this mat and have different shots of the different angles and see which one they would be more likely to choose if looking. So that's what I would recommend. But I don't know if you see, there's actually not a ton of bat bath mats. And I think the reason why this one sticks out is because of the foot, but also because of the fluffiness. The other ones you can't really see what the texture are, and they kind of look flat. So they look like it wouldn't be very cozy if you did actually use it as a bat bath mat. Okay, let's go back to the other images, and let's go to the second image. The second image is showing dimensions and how big it is. That's definitely important because people want to know how big this thing is. Is it going to fit in my bathroom? Is it the size I'm looking for? The next one it says plush and absorbent chenille mat. So it's saying it's chenille, plush and absorbent, and it's got like a hand and kind of a close-up view of the actual bath mat. And I think that's actually a really good image to show because it shows how kind of cozy and nice and plush this particular mat is.
What I do think this listing does a good job of doing is centralizing the images to one aspect of the actual product. I've seen products before where you've got 5 different features being highlighted on the same exact image, and most people don't have that sort of attention span. They'll kind of click through it really fast, and whatever jumps out is what you've got. So make sure that when you guys are taking a look at your listings, it's not only very obvious what your product does and what it's made out of and what size it is. They get all that information from what they're looking at in just that one component of your listing, but also that you're highlighting one feature inside of each of those images.
Exactly. So that's a really good point. And we've actually seen tests that have been done, and it shows that if you have one kind of selling point on each image, it's actually better because people can remember it much better. They've tested basically, they go through all 5 images and say at the end, hey, what do you remember? And the images where there was just one point or one selling point on each image, they actually remember it more than the ones that had multiples on there. So that's something really good to point out. This next image is kind of like an infographics image, and it shows how it's non-slip. It's got a non-slip backing, it's durable, and it's long-lasting. So just kind of another added image. It also shows in here that it's machine washable, maintains its softness even after the wash. That's really important. A lot of people don't want to have a mat they can't throw in the washing machine. And then here is an image of just basically the bath mat by itself, which is great. And then the last image, it says, it's 100% premium chenille, non-shedding material, and ultra soft and plush. Now, I do think this is a bit repetitive because it is kind of going back. Maybe this one should be a little bit higher, and maybe instead of the third image that just says plush and absorbent chenille mat, maybe you could put the ones with the infographics in there. Now, something else that I am noticing is that a lot of times people are going to be using bath mats for Halloween decor as well. So I don't see any kind of lifestyle images showing that. But also people who do buy this for year round, like they have kind of a more gothic decor. So it would be interesting to see a bathroom that would look like this year round, just more kind of lifestyle images on here. What do you think, Shivali?
Definitely. Adding context can make a huge difference in your conversions because people are able to visualize what it might look like in their own space, as well as I've known people even in my own life who are very big Batman fans. So not only just in the context of spooky and horror, also in the space of Batman fanatics, in the space of maybe elevated black rooms that have luxury style bathroom decor but want abstract pieces. If you think about really high-end abstract art, you've got different pieces kind of coming together, and the statement pieces kind of elevate the whole space. And so being able to come in and not just have the important aspects, the features, right? Explaining the measurements, explaining what sort of fabric it is, how you use it, what it's shaped like, also having the context of a lifestyle, that will really add to those images.
Yeah, so people can envision it in their space. Like, oh, that would look good where I'm at. Exactly. Like people need to be able to see this where they want it to be. Okay, so let's go back to the listing and let's go down to the A+ content because these are more images on here. So,
all right, the first image. So it says Mysterious Oddities. We've got the logo up top, says right underneath it in larger text, Dark Embrace. And the copy right underneath it in a little bit smaller format is step into luxury every morning with our plush and soft bat-shaped chenille floor mat. Great. And on the right-hand side of that same image, you've got the same image that kind of looks like our main image, which is somebody stepping onto that mat.
The next image says walk into luxury, and it's a similar image to one of the main images where somebody's hand is kind of on the mat and you can see the entire shape of it. And it says non-shedding, water absorbent, machine washable. I think what I'm seeing here is just a repetitiveness a little bit of the images. That's what I would say. Maybe we would do different images on the A+ content. But one thing I do like is there is kind of a lifestyle image and it shows the bath mat in an actual normal bathroom. So
yeah, I like that it's finally up there. But what I don't like is somebody has to scroll all the way to the bottom and you're banking on them actually scrolling to the bottom for them to even begin to imagine what it might look like in their space. And I want you to think about this from a desktop perspective and also mobile, because you've got a lot of mobile users now. Even then, you're still going to have to scroll quite a bit. And that may or may not happen, right? So being able to incorporate it into your actual main 7, 8 images that you've put up is much more worthwhile. And even the second image we were looking at for A+ content, which Carrie kind of brought attention to, she said it's a bit redundant. You have walk into luxury, but if you scroll up just a little bit more to that first image, it says step into luxury. Well, that's the same exact thing, right? And if you've only got so much space on your listing, you want to ensure you're using it to bring about different aspects.
Yeah, and maybe people who are buying this aren't necessarily focused on the luxury, although it is nice to have that. They're looking at like the decor part too. So that's a big selling point. So yeah, something to just consider when we're looking at this. It's soft. That's really great. They put that and then step into the known. I don't know what that means. So sometimes that's another thing that I would like to point out is to not use abstract like phrases and things like that, where it's like, oh, step into the known. What do you mean by that? People want to know what's in it for them right away. Okay. So you want to give the selling points. Like this is super soft and plush. It's made out of chenille. It's perfect for any Gothic decor, for Halloween, for like all the reasons that you should buy this particular mat. It's absorbent, it's machine washable. All those are really good, selling points. But when you use abstract things, people are just like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to
I'm cracking up. This is so on brand. If you guys don't know Carrie personally, this is really on brand for her. She's like, what does that even mean?
Well, because fantastic. Step into the known. What does that mean?
What does that mean for a bat-shaped bath mat, right? It doesn't make sense actually, even to me. Yeah, I think based off just this conversation alone, many of you might resonate. It would be a good idea to have one of these A+ images just have a context highlighting portion where you have different lifestyles that this might apply to right next to each other. You can use it for luxury. You can use it for decorating for Halloween. You can use it if you're a Batman fan. You can use it for, I don't know, literally anything, a birthday party, right? I don't know where you'd put it, maybe at the front door instead of the bathroom. But you've got some options. And even for explaining that it's a non-slip base, you could have a visual of somebody falling and you've got a big old X mark over it. Just very obvious, like, don't do this, Yeah. Help a fallen can't get up. No more. None of that needed. Right?
Yeah. So the next thing that I would like to do is just kind of get like our main thoughts about what are the main selling points about this. Now, if you scroll into the reviews, something that we've noticed, and this is a bummer, I usually like to scroll through like pretty much all the reviews and get really a good idea of what people are saying about the product. Well, as you can see right here, it says, Amazon says, we're showing a limited selection of reviews. To see more reviews, you can send a request. So if you want to send a request, maybe you can get more of your reviews. But usually I like to kind of copy and paste these into ChatGPT and say, hey, what do my customers love most about my product and what do they dislike about it, just so I can have a good understanding. But I like to see what the main selling points of this particular product are. And if we actually look at Amazon's overview, they have it on here as well. It says customers find that this bathroom rug is cute and festive with excellent quality. They appreciate its softness, and specifically one customer mentions it feels great on the feet. So that's really nice. So we would keep that selling point like super soft and comfortable on your feet, like super soft and cushiony, as you step out of the bathroom. Non-slip, that's another one. It doesn't slip and slide all over the bathroom. It's machine washable, another great thing. But the main thing that people are talking about is how cute and festive it is. So, you want to talk about how it's great for all different types of decor and kind of list the different ways that you could use it. Any other selling points you think about or you've been thinking about, Shivali?
I will say something else I've found while selling on Amazon is having great conversion rates and upkeeping your quality as a seller also depends on keeping people who are not your actual audience type at bay. So what that means is if you know that you're seeing a lot of 1-star reviews for something in particular, you can also make it a point to highlight that this product does not cater to that audience. Does that make sense?
Very good. Yeah.
Is just making sure that you're not only keeping the things that people love and you're highlighting those things, but you're also going in and figuring out, oh, what are these people disappointed at? So for example, Lauren here is talking, the shape's cute, but arrived with stains and tag that says wash by hand and is not machine washable. You're going to want to make sure crystal clear, is your product machine washable? Make it very obvious whether it is, which obviously in our images, it says it is machine washable. Just ensure that your regulation, textile, what is it called? Tags. At a loss of words here. Your textile tags actually are in sync with what you are talking about, because that's a very easy no-go. You're going to lose points. You're going to lose reviews there. And that's going to drop the overall quality of your listing, drop your conversions. It's a cycle, my friends. So just be very crystal clear about what you're offering and let customers know. So that way you are attracting the people that will buy and you're saying no to all the people who wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very good point. That is definitely a no-no. So we'll have to fix that in this listing.
All right. Now that we've taken a look at the images and talked about how to use them in your approach to auditing your listing, let's go back up a little bit and talk about the actual copy. So we've got the title and the bullets here. And just so you know, if you're a new seller, you might not even have access to the A+ content yet, or you might not have uploaded it just yet, in which case you might have a small section where you can just add in some text. So at any point, if you're looking at a listing and you don't have it, if you don't have the extra images, that's kind of what's happening there is you need to go in and upload A+ content or be brand registered for it. Here we have Manny's Mysterious Oddities Chenille Bath Mat, 32-inch by 20 Goth bathroom rug, extra thick, soft, absorbent, and machine washable, non-slip and no creases bathroom decor. Not too many dashes, not too many all capped out things outside of the brand. You can add the brand at the front, at the back. It's really up to you. And this is pretty all-inclusive, I would say. I feel like it does a good job of incorporating the dimensions, what sort of features there are, who's the seller. It talks about what it can do for you or what somebody might be looking for. Maybe I am really clumsy. I know I'm looking for a non-slip mat. This will do the job. And I can tell that right from the title. So I always like to ensure that every part of that listing you can approach and look at. You can assume that the customer is going to look at just the title and still be able to make a very informed decision on whether they want to purchase. Doesn't mean that they will. But most of us were primed for social media. I know I am. We've got really short attention spans. You click in, you click out. You want to get the most out of it from one place. What about you, Carrie? Have you got something you want to add on to the title?
Yeah. So I actually was thinking what we're going to do later is we're going to look at the keywords that we've come up with our keyword research in our listing builder. And we want to make sure that those keyword phrases are written into the actual listing title itself, especially the most important ones. Now, I think Bat bath mat is probably one of the best ones, but we might be able to see, is goth bathroom rug the best? Does it have the most search volume? Is that the most important phrase to be, putting in our title? And we can kind of see and gauge that based on what the search volume is when we actually do the listing, the search for keywords and then the listing optimization.
Absolutely. And same thing applies for the bullet points, right? We want to make sure that not only is it written for the customer to understand what they're purchasing and why they should purchase, but also whether or not those things, those keywords and key phrases are going to help them get indexed and ranked for words that people are truly searching for on the Amazon search bar and converting for. Because somebody who's typing in coffin shaped bath mat, or let's say Mickey Mouse bath mat, is not the same person that's purchasing these things. And so it's very different search results for both of those search terms. And you want to ensure you're indexing and ranking, being associated by Amazon for the right ones.
Yeah, exactly. Going into the bullets, I like to usually see somehow where the main selling points are at the very beginning. And this is maybe just my preference as a shopper and as a seller. I usually want to highlight those top selling points right there. Now, right here, it says the only chenille bat bath rug available. I don't know if that's going to be like the most important thing for people. They just want to know what you have to offer. So I would say, extremely, soft and, plush chenille mat or something like that in there. But I wouldn't say it necessarily like that, because you want to get to the point. Like, again, not asking too many questions or talking in abstract. You want to just be really straightforward as much as you can, because you're trying to give them all the benefits of your particular product. It says, so that's the first bullet. Then the next one is Halloween bathroom decor is not just for October, but for year round. So that's really good. So we can emphasize that and just say, year round bathroom mat or something like that. And then also the next one, I would say also perfect for Halloween decor or something like that. Whatever else people are using it for, I would make that another selling point, another bullet. And then it says, even though that's the thickest bathroom bat rug on here, this Gothic rug is not suggested to be used outside your home as a welcome doormat. So I guess they're saying what not to use it as. I don't necessarily think that people are going to be using a bathroom mat for that. So I would use that opportunity to talk about how it's non-slip, machine washable, all the different, like how to take care of it, and things like that instead of, kind of saying what it doesn't do. What do you think, Shivali?
I definitely think it's an interesting call out, because just a few minutes ago when we were talking about the context, I even mentioned using it as a party rug. And when I think of party rug, I think that's an indoor or outdoor mat. It's not even something I thought about whether or not I can use it for it. And also, why not? Why can't I use it as an outdoor mat? Is it because it makes it less washable? Is it because it doesn't sustain rain? I don't know. It brings up quite a few questions for me. But equally, I will say what I'm seeing here is a lot of keywords and phrases being thrown in that might just be to honestly help this product index for a lot of random things. For example, it says, pair this up with a whimsical emo coffin shelf, mirror, or even another goth bat math, such as coffin rug or any spooky horror accessories. You've also got goth kitchen, laundry, living room, nursery, hallways. And I get it, right? It's adding for that context, that descriptive imagery. But as Carrie said, you kind of have to pick and choose here. You want to make sure people know how it's washable, because I think that holds a little bit more weight on why somebody would make that purchase, as opposed to just being like, oh yeah, I can add it with my other horror accessories. They may not have other horror accessories, but what they will care about is the convenience. Because why do you shop on Amazon? Why are you going online and purchasing things if you can just go brick and mortar down the road? Convenience, right? Same thing. Machine washable is a lot more convenient than being like, oh, I actually have to get a whole new mat each time, or I can pair this with the spider shelf that I don't even have yet. Right? So things to keep in mind, but again, still really great for associating different products, especially if you're a brand with multiple things that you sell in your arsenal.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're confused about like the fact that it's bathroom mat, then we probably need to position that better, because it does say chenille bath mat. So, it's goth bathroom rug. So, usually a bathroom rug isn't used outdoors. So that's something, that you would want to position, I guess, more if you were confused about that. It is, definitely a bathroom decor for those types of people who want it year round. Because there are people, I was always shocked by that people do like this kind of stuff year round. And then also for people who want to decorate for Halloween.
Actually, the reason I brought that up is because I did a different listing some time ago where I changed up things to increase the conversion rate. And at the time, this was for the egg tray that we've got. And that coffin-shaped egg tray, we were using only for one context. And when we kind of stepped back from it, we said, oh, you can use this for outside of just eggs. You can use it as hors d'oeuvres party tray. You've opened yourself up to a whole different market. And that's why that's where my mind goes is what are all the contexts? But it doesn't mean that you should use it for those other contexts, correct?
Yeah. I don't think in this situation, a bathroom mat would be the same as an outdoor mat, because the outdoor mats are usually like a lot firmer and like they're meant to kind of
withstand weather.
Yeah, withstand weather and scrub stuff off of your shoes. This is more like to soak up the water from your feet when you're getting out of the shower. So it's a very different type of product. So we wouldn't we wouldn't position it that way. Something else we didn't talk about is Rufus. So we have Rufus right here and it says, is it machine washable? Which we answered. Of course, we need to make sure that our answer is correct when we actually write the listing here. What is the rug made of? We definitely have answered that. And then can it be used on hardwood floors? We haven't touched on that, but that is something we could add to, the back end in the description. So when you have A+ content, you're usually a registered brand owner. So in order to get this, you have to have a registered trademark. But if you don't, there's a description that you can write and you can put the description on here. And it's just like a written form of just words here with the product description. Now, you can do that and add maybe the context can use it on hardwood floors there. Or you can also do it, even though you have A+ content, you can still write a description and it'll show up on the back end. So even though you write a description for, something and you want your A+ content is actually showing instead, you can use that as an extra spot for keywords and context for Rufus. So that is something to keep in mind. So if you didn't want to put anything about hardwood floors specifically in the listing, you could put it there.
Yeah. And guys, make sure that you're putting in all the attributes for your product as well. That's going to show up right above the bullet points. And yeah, I think we're ready to rock and roll, kind of talk about how we can go in and elevate this listing from a data perspective inside of Helium 10. I will add, I do agree with you. I too like to see at the very front of my bullet points just a cohesive understanding of what that bullet point that's coming up is going to be about.
So now what we're going to do is we are actually going to go to our listing analyzer tool. And this makes it really easy for you to compare your listing to your competitors. And something that we also made super easy is that you can just check off the ones that you want to take a look at. So I'm going to take a look at this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I'm going to be able to actually compare all the images kind of stacked up on top of each other. So I'll show you what I mean by that. When I hit run listing analyzer, it's going to take you to the listing analyzer. It takes a little bit to load. Now, this tool that I'm actually showing you is part of the Diamond plan. So if you're a little confused and you can't access it, that is why. This is part of the Diamond feature plan. If we scroll down, it's going to be in the section called Media. It's going to have a button, basically. It's called Media Analyzer. And you're just going to click on that and it's going to show you all of your images compared to your competitors. So right here, so our Manny's Mysterious Otters is actually down here, but we can see all of our competitors' listings and ours compared to one another. Now, if we look at this particular one up here, they've got a lot of words on their actual images, and I think that might be a bit too much. The less words you can use and make it more concise, the better. So that there's just one thing on each one. So for example, like this one, plush microfiber softness, that they would probably want to just focus on the soft part and just say it very simply there. It's got a secure non-slip rubber base. That's good, but this other wording does not necessarily matter. However, potentially they're adding this stuff in here for Rufus too, because Rufus does scan the images and you can see, tile, hardwood, laminate, and that was one of the Rufus questions. This one has some, basically infographic type looks, but again, I think there's too many words here. So overall, I think this one is too many words on that top one. And if I go back, I can see, let's see who's selling more. So that was this top one here. And it looks like they're selling a bit more, quite a bit more than we are. So maybe that is something that's important to consider because they're actually selling, 6,600 as opposed to 840 a month.
And for those of you that are listening to this on the podcast and not watching this visually, Carrie's looking at the X-ray tool on the Amazon page. So she's inside of a main search term. She clicked the Chrome extension. If you don't have the Chrome extension, make sure you have it downloaded. It's helium10.com/extension. And it'll be that first tab down that says X-ray to give you that 10,000 foot overview. She went in, selected all of the competitor ASIN she's interested in, and then clicked Run Listing Analyzer, scrolling down to compare key metrics across ASINs, where there's a media comparison button on the right-hand side that you can click to see all of the images stacked next to each other for the ASINs you selected. So make sure you guys give that a go.
Yes, and now let's go back to what Shivali was saying about multi-purpose use. And this is really why it's really good to compare, because we've got our competitor here saying that it's multi-purpose bat mat. It's hard to say that sometimes.
It is.
Says works in bathrooms, bedrooms, entryways, functions beautifully as a bedroom accent, bedside, year-round Gothic decor, not just seasonal. So I would say for this one, I wouldn't say like necessarily outside entryways, but I would, say works in bathrooms and bedrooms, because you could put it in your bedroom, functions beautifully there, and then also that it's year-round Gothic decor, not just seasonal. So they kind of called that out in that image. Now, I think there's too much in this image, but it is interesting that they are selling a lot more. And potentially, we could be selling quite a bit more if we had some more details and information like they have. I think they did a good job of pointing out the selling points. And I think these are the same ones that I highlighted before, that it's, super soft, it's non-slip, machine wash, multi-purpose, perfect Halloween accent. Then it goes into like why microfibers, better. But then they also have some videos, which is great as well. Any thoughts about that?
I actually really like their non-slip rubber base image as well. If you recall, when we were going through the initial stack, the non-slip image actually was framed a bit strangely. Like I had to look at it a couple times because it's the rug folded over itself. And then there's like a little dash that comes out for the white part. So you don't really fully know what you're looking at if you're looking at that image as a standalone. But if you're looking at it in that stack, you're like, okay, this is probably going to be the back of that rug. So I like this one because it's very obviously the rug just flipped over the top of it. Very small distinction, doing the same exact thing, same call out, just a much better image in my opinion. And speaking of videos, I think this is a good place for us to cover video content, even of our listing, because we didn't talk through it before. And so when you're looking at our listing, you do have one video that's highlighting what it might look like in a room. Brilliant. So we've got a luxury style room. You've got a nice bathtub. Somebody comes out, steps over it, calls attention to what sort of material it is. All the same features we were seeing before inside of the image stack, as well as the bullet points. It's durable, non-slip, keeps you safe, absorbent, aesthetic, and that's it. We don't really have anything else going on. Nobody really touching it. It's just somebody stepping out onto it and just showing their legs and feet, which works. One video is better than no videos at all. However, I will say their influencer videos are non-existent on this listing. And so being able to go in to Helium 10, you've got access to a tool that's called Influencer Finder, which is where you can now find both Amazon and TikTok Shop influencers to promote your product. All right. And you can go in and do it based off aesthetic. So you can type in goth and see who might actually be on these platforms promoting products in that category. Or you can go in and do it by the category type, by the number of followers, how many views they've got, etc. Now, right now we're looking at the Influencer Finder. If you're looking at this on video format, we have it open on the page, and this is the TikTok Shop workspace, I believe, correct?
This is the TikTok Shop. Yep.
Yes, amazing. So TikTok Shop, maybe that's not been on your radar just yet if you're an Amazon seller. I think it's a great place to consider. even as an Amazon seller, because that's very top of funnel. Most of us are scrolling through social media all the time, and we tend to buy things that other people will recommend, especially if it's somebody that we look up to or that we like. And a simple promo from a friend is even enough to get me doing things. For example, Carrie recommended black seed oil to me ages ago, and now your girl is a convert. So very simple. If you have a trusted friend who's recommending something or a trusted person that you look up to, and they talk about your product, all of a sudden their audience is now buying, which is quickly for you, maybe just one product that you sent out. And now you've got an audience that's completely untapped, but is interested in the stuff that that person is selling or even reviewing, right? Recommending. So TikTok shop, great place to start, but also you can actually toggle the workspace in the top left-hand corner and then go into the Amazon workstation, which will let you find influencers inside of Amazon.
Listing Builder is also part of the Diamond plan, and it's because it's a very robust tool. We've got a lot of things in here that will help you to optimize your listings very quickly. So what we've done here, and I'll show you where we add keywords. So we put our product in here first, our ASIN, and then we put all of our competitor keywords that we want to compare our competitor ASINs where we want to compare keywords to them. And so there's a few different things that we're going to be looking at. And one of them is our ABA converting keywords. These are keywords with conversion share of greater than 1%. And so we basically bring in the Amazon brand analytics data, and it shows from all of these ASINs, all the keywords where at least one of these products has converted above 1%. So that shows that it's going to be more relevant because all of these products that are in here, that we put in here, are bath mats. So those are going to be probably your most relevant keywords right there. The next thing here we have is search query performance. And as you all probably know, when you go and download this in Amazon, you have to download like either 1 week at a time with one ASIN or 1 month at a time with one ASIN. And it takes forever to download, especially if you have a lot of ASINs. In this situation, we can actually go back 12 months, or you can do weeks as well if you wanted to just focus on weeks. And you could say, hey, I want to see all the keywords where I had at least one purchase. And you can take a look at those keywords as well for your own products where you're actually converting, so you can make sure that you maintain presence on those or capitalize even more on the ones that you're doing well on.
Then we've got top keywords as well as opportunity keywords. And the underscore right there is keywords with monthly search volume where it's greater than or equal to 500. 500 is a number that's kind of inputted in here, but you guys can change it based off whichever marketplace you're selling in. And just as I talk about marketplaces at the very top, make sure that you are doing all this inside the marketplace you plan to sell in. You've got average competitor rank between position 1 and 40, and at least 4 competitors ranking for the keyword written here. Now, the actual ranking, so when I said 1, 40, and 4, those numbers are changeable. You can go in, and what you're seeing here is most of the ASINs that you inputted at the very top of this search panel inside of this tool, most of them are ranking for it, and they've got more than the search volume, so more than 500 times it's being searched into that search bar. The competitor rank is somewhere in those top 40 organic positions, and at least 4 of those ASINs that we selected are in those rankings. Then you've got opportunity keywords, which is just a little bit of a variance from that. So not all of those ASINs, not all 4 of, let's say 7 of those ASINs are actually ranking in the top 40. Instead, here it says only 1 to 2 competitors. So maybe not all of your competitors, but some of them are ranking for it, which means you could go onto the marketplace and be maybe that 3rd competitor and still rank at the very top, hopefully, and generate some sales. So top keywords are the ones your competitors are mostly using, which means if it's relevant for them, it's probably relevant for you. And opportunity is going to be where not all your competitors are utilizing, but it's still relevant and you can still make some money on it.
Yeah, the next one is my actual favorite, and this is historical top keywords. This is keywords, then you can set this up however you want it to. It says keywords with monthly searches greater than or equal to 500 searches a month. So you can do more or less of that if you want. And then the organic rank is between 1 and 20 during the last 3 months. So for any of these keywords, for any of these ASINs, if they have, ranked in the top 20, then it's going to be a more relevant keyword. So we're going to be able to find those keywords a lot faster, and we can go back in time to be able to see those. And you can see right here, you can actually go up to 24 months. So you could go all the way back 2 years with this information if you wanted to, but I have just chosen the last 3 months. But again, you can choose longer than that. And then we have top performing organic keywords. So keywords from one competitors ranked between 1 and 10 is what we put in here. Now, these actually are numbers that you can change. So keywords from one competitor, you could say from 5 competitors ranked between 1 and 10 or 1 and 100. And then you can see those top performing organic keywords. Now, obviously 1 to 10 is probably going to be the top performing because they're at the top of the search. So I would usually suggest keeping it at 1 to 10.
You've also got top performing sponsored keywords. If your ASINs, your competitor ASINs are spending some money to drive PPC and get ranked at the very top, it's probably important. And so you can go in and find the keywords where either 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever you put into that little box you've got there, competitors ranked between position, and then you've got 2 boxes there between 1 and 10 or 1 and 15, 1 and 30. I like to make sure I'm seeing where are actually my competitors ranking in the first 5 positions even. So really you're at the very top. You care about how much you're being seen at the very top, and those ones are going to be relevant to you as well.
All right. And the last thing here is search volume. Now, sometimes I like to say, hey, if I wanted a minimum of 500 search volume, then you can put it there. Sometimes for something like this, we actually can go even down to 300 because this is a lower search product. So I would say like a minimum of 300. I don't like to get a lot of keywords where it's like, there really isn't very much search volume. So I'm just going to go ahead and you can check all of these actually that you want to have searched. Since we've already filled them out, I'm going to just check them out and then I'm going to hit apply. And that's going to basically come up with our keyword list here. And this is where we can actually, on this next part, we can filter it down and choose what keywords that we want, okay? And something I really like about this is, say I wanted to see the main keywords from search query performance sales, you can actually sort by your search query performance sales, and you can see bat bath mat. We've made 23 sales on this. We have bat rug. We have 10 sales on this. So this is a really good place to kind of find those really relevant keywords. You can also see, you can click on the Amazon Brand Analytics converting keywords, and it'll show you those keywords as well. It'll show you opportunity keywords when you click on that. So there's a lot of really good information, and you can sort it by just clicking. But you can also go through here and delete, or you can export the data and then re-upload it if you wanted it to. So you can go through delete. But one of my favorite things is you can actually star the keywords that are really important, like especially these SQP purchases. We've got 23 sales on bat bath mat. So we're going to want to make sure that is in our listing, probably our title, and because it is pretty important. But again, you also want to look at search volume. So it is kind of a fine balance of what keywords you want to put in there versus not. So you can basically star the ones that you think are the most important. And then we go to the next thing. This is actually where we create the listing itself. And you can see right here, those starred keywords are at the top. So you know where they are and you can easily write them into your listing. Shivali?
And guys, search query performance data comes directly from Amazon. And if you're finding that there's purchases happening on that keyword, even if that search volume is 300, I've talked to sellers who are like, oh, the search volume's not there. Yeah, but the purchases data is. So why wouldn't you want to be associated to that and have that inside of your listing, right? It's a no-brainer. So make sure you guys are starring the ones that are important, that are showing you where your purchases are really happening, as well as using that historical context, especially that initial frame that you're seeing. It pulls all the data that used to be inside of a completely different tool before. Now it's all integrated. So you can just type it in quickly within seconds and then pull all that information. And actually on the left-hand paneling here, when you're inside of Listing Builder, so this is going to be our third frame. So third tab down once you're inside of Listing Builder, you're going to be able to hover over any of these keywords. So for example, it says bat rug, which says 2 next to it. That means that it's showing up twice in our listing on the right-hand side. And when you hover over it, it shows me where those sources are coming from. So bat rug is showing up for, can you hover over it, Carrie? It says ABA converting keywords. It's a search query performance sales keyword. It's a historical top keywords and top performing organic keywords. That is showing up in 4 different sources. You wouldn't have known that before. But now you can see, oh yeah, it's like hyper relevant for all of these things. Of course, I want to have it in my listing. And when I click it, so if I clicked bat rug, it's going to now highlight green on the right-hand side. So very easy to tell, yeah, I've got it in my bullet points, I've got it in my title or my description. And then you can kind of easily figure out, have I used this too many times? Maybe if it's already in there once, I don't want to have it in there again. I can now use something else. So I can go in and say, instead of bat rug, let's use bathroom rugs. because my search volume for that is, it's really broad because it's not maybe the most relevant, but you can kind of go in and play around with it, figure out what makes the most sense for you.
Okay. And so something I want to talk about too is we saw in search query performance, for example, bath mat, we had 23 sales, but you can see the search volume is only 236. So for certain types of products, you're going to have lower search volume and you're still going to make those sales because it's very, very relevant. So even if it's only 236 search volume, that's probably something not to overlook, especially if it's as relevant as bath mat, which is literally our exact product. So you can see here that we've written it in twice. You can see where we've highlighted and written it into the actual title as well. So that shows that it's important to us, and we want to make sure that we stay on the top of the search for that particular product. Now, something that's really cool about this listing builder is you can actually have AI help you write these particular bullets and titles. So you can put in all of this information here, and you can put a bunch of stuff in the description and key features, and it will help you to generate the listing when you hit generate listing. And then if you wanted to say, hey, I wanted specific keywords in my title, you can actually search them here. So bath, mat, we wanted this one in our title, right? So we can actually check that one. And if we wanted to put, black bath mat, very hard to say that actually. If we want to write those in, then it'll show us if we've added them into the actual, title. And then also here with our bullets, if we wanted to say we didn't like whatever the bullet was, we could hit rewrite and hit generate. And it's going to generate an idea down here of what they think you could, put here. So luxuriously thick Gothic comfort. Okay. This actually is probably better than what we have here. So you can hit use suggestion, or if you like what you have and you maybe want to take some bits here, you can actually edit this and discard this if you wanted to just copy and paste that. So that's another strategy to utilize. But this AI really helps you to, if you have writer's block or you really don't know what to say, this really helps you, as you can see, to put that, in there, and you can edit the keywords and then have it rewrite as many times as you need to get your listing done. So that is the ins and outs of how to optimize your listing. Now, this one particularly needs quite a bit of work. Something we didn't do yet is we didn't kind of narrow down the keywords here. We probably want to delete some of them that are not as relevant. And so once you've gone through that and you have all of your most relevant keywords in your list here, and then also your top phrases, you could do between 10 to 20 and make sure those are written in. Some people do less, some people do more, but I don't think we actually even have 10 to 20 phrases that we would want that are super relevant to write in. But you want to make sure that individual words are written in there that are really important to make sure that you actually can index for some of those phrases that you might not write into your listing.
And just for those of you guys who might not be familiar with the root words, root keywords are the words that comprise all of these other key phrases. So you don't have 500 different phrases. You have maybe some of the same root words that are making up all the other key phrases. And so, as Carrie said, go in with those 10 to 20 phrases, and then the rest kind of boil it back down to the roots and use those. So that way Amazon still associates you to all of the other phrases that are going on. Something else is I wanted to draw attention to the fact that the bullet points, when you actually did go in with AI, it did something that Carrie and I had mentioned when we were looking at the bullet points the first time around, which is you've got a header at the very, very front. It says luxuriously thick Gothic comfort, this chenille Gothic bat mat, etc., yada, yada, yada. So it just very briefly gives you that summation. It's already gone in and done something that we actually noticed that needed work. And so it is a really good starting place, you guys. You guys can go in and workshop it afterwards. And something else to note is this is written in all caps. You don't want to do all caps. That's against Amazon's terms of service, actually, but you can still keep that header in a regular font format and then have the colon. So at least it's still really clean and associated. This is also a great thing to use if maybe English is not your first language. And so going in and having a starting place, making sure that the grammar is there and it's very professional as it gets read out by your customers. I'll pass it back to you, Carrie.
Yeah, something I will say is I actually do have the caps on my listing and they haven't taken it down, but if they do, it's not going to take your listing down forever. They're not going to, ding you and take you off of Amazon. So you would just have to edit it. And that's pretty much what you would have to do. So if you wanted to kind of risk it and do it, as you probably see a lot of listings that do it, then you could. But it is, like Shivali said, against the
I won't lie. my listings too. I
Yeah.
risked it for a biscuit because what you get is a slap on the wrist. But
Yeah.
your listing might just get suppressed for a second. If you keep an eye out for it, you should be all good because you can just get it right back up. Make sure you have your alerts on for that from Helium 10. So that way you're always in the know if something changes or if you get a, suppression for something like that.
And just one additional thing I want to let you know is that we have a bunch of different marketplaces that we have a listing builder for. We have Spain, Germany, France. We have a bunch of different languages. And we can actually help you to write listings in these other languages. So if you're expanding to Europe, you could actually do a keyword research in here as well, and then pull it in here, and then it'll write in the native tongue. So it's not just going to translate what you write. It's actually when you hit generate, it's going to write it in that language. So if you're optimizing for Spain, it'll write it in Spanish. And as you can see, right here, this is actually really good of a bullet. But when you start the AI workflow, you can input all this information in English and it'll write it in Spanish or whatever market you're actually in and trying to optimize for. So it's super helpful and very, very nicely written. As you can see right here, it works very, very well. So yeah, that is all that we have for today. We've talked about the listing images, the A+ content, the bullets, the titles, how to kind of analyze different, different ways. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. And we saw a lot of opportunities, even though this is actually one of our listings. We didn't actually write it, but we saw things like better images by just comparing those images to our competitors. We saw that from the reviews that we need to kind of make sure that our selling points are accurate. Is it machine washable, but our tag says washed by hand? That's not good. So you want to make sure that that's all taken care of, and just utilizing this to quickly find those amazing keywords to write in here. Those are all just the things that you can do. It's very simple. It does take some time, but this tool makes it so much less time. I used to spend hours and hours doing this, but with this tool, it's going to take you so much less time to create the listings.
Yeah, I hope you guys use this episode to approach your listings and audit them with this mentality, treating each piece as a standalone, ensuring that your customers got all the information they need to make a purchase, but also using key phrases that actually help you get seen inside of Amazon. You're also paying attention to what your listing is saying and how it might get translated by Rufus as AI becomes more and more of a thing. Now, if you don't have access to these features, you guys will want to use the code SSP20 for 20% off 6 months of Diamond. Again, that's SSP20. Make sure you guys go and give that a go because this sort of subscription honestly gets paid off really, really fast because you go in, you leverage it, you audit your listings, and all of a sudden you're seeing it translated into increased conversions.
All right, everyone. So there you have it. That is our listing teardown of this particular product. So if you are ever interested in us doing a listing teardown for your product, you can go ahead and write into us or message us on Facebook or LinkedIn, and we will take a look at your products and do a listing teardown for you and help you to make sure that you are optimized to the fullest. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you on the next AMPM podcast. Bye, everyone.